All right, welcome back. Today we're having another Ireb podcast, and with the release of the Mueller Report, we've got Connie Sierras. She is an Ireb leadership member, and Bill Halter, who is working in Bill. I'll let you explain. You're working in private nonprofit right now.
Yeah, I've transitioned away from politics into working for a nonprofit organization. Yeah.
Okay, and so Bill had actually was a political director for Richard Painter, and so that's how we got to be friends. And so I asked him to come on. So this report, it's a big deal. 2 years, or over 2 years now, that has basically been the fuel of our resistance movement. It's been the source of everything that we are, and a lot of and so. This report coming out, and of course we haven't seen it yet, and there are promises that we will get to see it. There is a process that it needs to be gone through and disseminated to the extent it can be. The Barr memo today was a 2-page memo, and I read it, and I have it up here, and I'll share that in a second. But that, no collusion. That's what he's saying, and so. It's kind of a shocking moment. And so Connie and I have been discussing this on and off, and I'm glad that we've been able to open a subject up because this is something I've kind of wanted to touch on. I don't know anything more than anybody else, but there's been a lot of talk in the resistance community from a small group in the left that maybe this Russia investigation was off target. And so this might be an indication that those folks were right. And so I'm concerned about that. And I'm concerned about, how that got started. Why did we end up chasing this? Who was responsible for that, if that's the case? But that, is another issue. Connie has been following this, and she's concerned. She's concerned that maybe Mueller's report needs our help. And so she's here to talk to the piece about, there is some organizing going on behind the scenes. The Protect Democracy folks, the group that we worked with, we held an event at the state capitol back in January, and they're working right now about maybe having another rapid response. Maybe this thing needs us to go out onto the streets and force Barr to disclose the entire report. And then Bill's with us, and Bill's always, I just have always appreciated Bill's take on things, and so I really wanted Bill to weigh in on this as more of an independent type of voice, kind of out there. And Bill, what do you got to say about it?
Well, I mean, the fact that if the report is as Barr illustrates it, as no collusion, but there's some other things that might stick to President Trump, for folks who have maybe in some way wanted there to be a direct tie between a phone call between Trump and Putin, or more of the Steele dossier to be collaborated or to be proven to be true. Don't use your clouded opinion of Trump and wanting to have horrible things be tied to him so you can kind of make a case for impeachment, because the facts are what is relevant here. Now, if the facts do say there's no collusion and the obstruction of justice isn't a strong enough of a case for him, it still doesn't make him a capable president. It still doesn't mean that his dishonesty isn't a complete travesty to our country, and it still doesn't mean that his conduct and the way he has operated and the discourse that he has brought to our political fray is acceptable in any way, shape, or form. So I would just caution, don't be upset if the findings are not what gives you enough firepower to call for impeachment, because maybe there isn't enough in here that calls for impeachment, but it still doesn't make you wrong for opposing this president.
I agree. I agree that.
Address that if I could.
Go ahead, Connie. Yes, please.
Okay, so I agree with you, Bill, and I would also want to impress that it's not Bill Barr or Mueller or Rosenstein's call on whether there's enough for impeachment here. That's Congress that makes that decision. So that, to me, implies that Congress needs the full report in order to decide whether or not there's enough that Mueller has already uncovered to warrant impeachment or not. That's up to Congress. That's what our Constitution says, is that it's Congress that oversees the president. DOJ oversees the courts. So that's a separation of powers, and they do not have the ability to make that decision for Congress. So that's where I'm saying, even if we don't see it, and I think we should see that at least most of it, I think Congress, especially the judicial and intelligence committees, do need to see that so that they can do their job to decide if impeachment is warranted or not.
No, couldn't agree more. The Congress has to see it, and the only reason we shouldn't see every element of it is because there is some national security aspect of it to it that would be dangerous to release to the public. But you're absolutely right on that.
Now, Connie, you're concerned though, because the Protect Mueller movement, you're concerned that they need our help on the street right now, aren't you? You feel that we should be out marching right now?
I think that right now there's a wait and see decision being made as far as indivisible and move on and whatever you said. There's kind of a wait and see if Barr is going to give at least the bulk of the report to Congress, then that's one issue that, is fine. That's fine. If he doesn't, if he just relies on a summary, then that means we need to organize and we need to get out on the streets and say, no, this isn't good enough. That's where I'm at.
Okay, I get that. And so, preparing for this, so my thinking, I had actually kind of thought about this, we've all come to trust and respect Robert Mueller. He's a decorated Marine. He is a lifelong public servant. Justice Department, he's risen through the ranks and all those around him have said nothing but good things about his dedication to duty and his loyalty to our country. And so now, as he lays this final report out to us, I wouldn't, my contention is I think we need to take the time to digest it a little bit, because I don't think a man of his stature would have left this undone. He wouldn't have, oh my goodness, our smoke alarms are going off. My wife is cooking something. I cannot believe that. Well, because
your take is so hot, Mark, that it caused the fire alarms to explode.
Okay, she turned it off again. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, that's not going to get edited out either. I'm sorry, I won't take the time to cut that out. Anyway, so where I was is Robert Mueller. My thinking, and I could be entirely wrong about this, but Robert Mueller, being a military man myself, I don't think would have left this last most important detail of the job undone. Where here's the report. Well, whatever happens, happens. I'm done now. I'm going home. And so I think there needs to be a reckoning. I think he's telling us something in the report. And I think that, we've been so reactive to, for so long. This is the one moment that we're going to need to take a little time and digest it. My concern though, my real concern here is, over the last 3 years, I've asked a lot of the folks of our community to show up for a lot of things. I've asked them to show up for training, and I've asked them to show up for caucuses, and I've asked them to show up for conventions where they've had to actually rent hotel rooms. And we've had luck over the years of getting people to show up and participate in these democratic processes. I'm concerned that this thing, if it turns, you're right, Bill, this does not prove that there's nothing, but if this turns to be like the one thing that we shouldn't have followed, then I'm going to be mad at whoever it is that decided that this was the thing that we were going to pursue, and we were going to try to attach to him to maybe create negatives and drive him down so that we could win the midterms. And it was a decision that was made before we knew how bad he really was.
The only thing that matters is the facts here. And the one thing that worries me a little bit is the Mueller report doesn't give certain people on the left or certain people who oppose his president for a variety of very legitimate reasons, that they all of a sudden, those folks who have been saying we need to protect Mueller and Mueller's the voice here, all of a sudden they start saying, well, Mueller's a Republican and we can't trust him and those kinds of things. I think you stated it very, very clearly. This is an honorable man who has his country first. What his report says, they've been doing some thorough investigating for a couple of years with some really smart minds. And whatever that says, it doesn't change the fact that Donald Trump needs to be defeated in 2020 for our country to flourish and be the best that it can be.
Oh, agreed completely, yeah.
I agree. And I think this could also be partly used to help bring a blue wave in 2020. Because, people were relying on this, not just me. I think there were a lot of people that were relying on, that something was going to be found. Even if it wasn't the big thing, there was going to be something found, maybe obstruction, something. And the fact that as I read the letter, one of the things that struck me was I keep hearing that prosecutors only go with a court case if they have a 90+% confidence in a guilty plea, that they're going to get a conviction. So is part of that what this is about? He didn't think he was going to, maybe he was only 60% sure he was going to get a conviction, so therefore he's not going to go with it. I don't know if that's part of it or not, but it seems to me that there's still, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there still seems to be smoke here. So the whole thing comes down to, it may not be the be-all, end-all we hoped it would be, but there's still something there, as far as I'm concerned. We just need to find it. And even if I don't see the entire report, like I said, if Congress gets it and the judicial and intelligence committees can decide whether or not there's enough high crimes and misdemeanors for impeachment or not, maybe they'll come back with a no. I don't know. That's their job, though, to make that call, not Barr's.
Yeah, and so it's my take, and I was actually trying to skim through the letter to see pick up some of the lingo that Barr used, and I guess it doesn't really matter. We don't need to quote Barr, but I think it was intimated that this, to the extent that it could be, as much information as is contained in this report will be released, and so. I think that there is going to be, the information is going to come out. It's not going to come out, all at once. I'm surprised, they got this many government people to come to work over the weekend so that they could get this much done. But I think it needs to be gone through. I think we need to, see what it says. And then, there's going to be a reckoning. There's going to be a reckoning about, he is not above the exoneration. This does not exonerate him from all the other things that we are seeing that are going on. This is not a normal presidency, even if this one thing does not end up being true. And it's almost frustrating that, we might have wasted so much of our energy and so much of our time to be led down this path, only to give him a bit of a springboard now because we were made to be seen as foolish by pursuing something that was actually the one thing that we weren't going to be able to prove. And so I'm a little,
Did Donald Trump help dictate the Donald Trump response to the Trump Tower meeting?
Yes.
It's pretty clear that he did. Did Mueller's report find that? We will soon find out. But that's pretty shady considering he lied profusely about it. Did he pay off Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels? Yes, he did. Did he lie to us about it? Yes, he did. These are all very valid reasons to go to the ballot box and campaign for candidates who can take this man out. The one thing I just want to continue to caution, and as you said, Mark, there are still many, many days before we're going to know the extent of what the Mueller report has to say. And certainly there is very legitimate reasons to be skeptical about Barr releasing anything detrimental to Trump's presidency. So there might be some underlying things there that he didn't release or didn't kind of headline. But look, don't try to, if something comes out that you don't get what you want from this report, we cannot just say, well, there's got to be more. Keep looking. There's got to be something there. There's got to be something there, because the facts are the facts. And the facts that we know already are plenty to know that we need to campaign hard to defeat this man in 2020. And there still might be something out there that necessitates impeachment and hearings in the Senate.
So does this take
this isn't over. This is not done, because at some point, Congress is going to get involved in this, and it may be as early as next week. Congress is already calling. I think I saw Swalwell or somebody like that on Twitter saying, we want it all. We want every bit of it. We don't want just a summary. So once Congress gets it, then they're going to look at it, and they're going to have something to say about it, one way or the other. So it isn't over.
No, and to your earlier point too, we sent Congress. We sent new Congress to Washington with a mandate to investigate this president, and that investigation does not stop with the findings of this one report. And it was a limited finding. We knew that going in, but we built our hopes up over this, and so much of what we were began to ride on that. And so I started getting worried as there were some folks on the left who were starting to speak on, saying, this might not be the thing that you, and I've mentioned it to people, and oh my goodness, people react that this one thing might not be the thing to take them down. There's plenty left. There's certainly.
There's also been 37, I believe, indictments made based on this investigation already. And one of the things we need to keep in mind is he's outsourced a lot of crimes that he's uncovered to other districts. So Southern District of New York, or I think it is, or New York AG, DC, Virginia, all of these different courts are getting different crimes based on Mueller's investigation. So
Sounds like you're trusting, I would say, sounds like you're trusting that crusty old Marine to have done his job.
Yeah, I do. I think he's done quite a bit for us already with 37 indictments, and he's already gotten guilty pleas. He's already gotten jail sentences. So things have happened already because of this investigation. The ending is not what we had hoped. Definitely. I don't know. Some people may have been hoping for a hanging. I don't know. I don't think so. That was ever going to happen. But the point is, it's not over because Congress hasn't weighed in yet. Not that that's going to be our be-all, end-all. Also, I'm just saying that this isn't the end.
Agreed. Bill, let's wrap it up with something from you.
Well, my guess is in the next few days or weeks, we will find that certainly the crimes committed by this president and this administration are far worse than what Starr found on Bill Clinton back in the days. And Bill Clinton had an affair in office and lied about it to a federal grand jury. That's bad. That is a bad representation of our country. And that was a bad thing. I have no question whatsoever that what will be found in this report is going to be worse than that. Now, but I can also guarantee you a couple other things. The people who are attached to Trump all the way to the finish line are going to say this vindicates him, no collusion, didn't do anything wrong. The liberals are losing their minds. This was a witch hunt from the start, a waste of money. You're going to hear that a lot about a waste of money, which is going to be kind of rich to hear considering some of the wasted money that they've, including the tax cut on the rich. But aside from the point, this is good. I just think the entrenchment is going to continue to be where it is. I just really, really hope that people say, let's hear where the facts are. No matter what the facts are, this Mueller report, we already know enough to know that we are going to oppose this president and try to get someone else elected in 2020. Don't try to create something that isn't there, because that's what folks did to Barack Obama for 8 years, and it wasn't productive then. It wouldn't be productive if we did it on the other side.
Awesome.
Hillary. Benghazi.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for hopping on and having this discussion. I'm sure our membership will enjoy listening to the points that we made, and I look forward to talking to you both again. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you both later.
All right.
All the best. Have a good night.